Hey guys, Miss Wills here. If you happen to be absent today from class, then you can watch this video and hopefully be caught up with us, at least somewhat. You'll be printing some things off, maybe under units of study if you have a printer at home, or you can pick a couple of copies up here in the classroom in the pink basket, because you're going to be gluing those pictures and things in your spiral notebook. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Today, one of the things we talked about in class was Hammurabi's law codes, his code of law. So, we're going to take a look at some of those law codes and discuss them a little bit. Before we get started, let's go ahead and take a look at his map. In this white region, this is the region that was marked as Hammurabi's empire. This was in 1700 BC. Now, later on, after Hammurabi, several years later, you can see, 580 BC, Nebuchadnezzar was king, and this pink region was his empire. So you're able to see who had a larger empire, Hammurabi or Nebuchadnezzar. They were both from the Babylonian Empire, but Hammurabi was 1700 BC. Nebuchadnezzar didn't come along until 580 BC. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple other things here. You know, I mentioned to you that the stone stela that he had his law codes engraved on was written in what language? I hope you remember. It's cuneiform. So this is an example of what that would have looked like on the stone stela. You can see it, of course, very clearly here. You can tell right here on this as well that you can see the carvings as well. So all of his law codes were written in cuneiform on this stone stela. Now hopefully you remember the story about this picture that is carved on top of the stone stela. Remember, a lot of people believe that this is Hammurabi passing down a sentence upon someone who's committed a crime. That's not the case at all, or at least that's not what historians believe it to be. Historians believe that this is one of the main gods that was for their region, and this god is passing down the right for Hammurabi to be the next king. Because if you remember, they believed that the kings were given the power to be a ruler because the gods said that they were worthy. Alright, let's go ahead and look at the next slide. This one also is cuneiform. This is just decoration, but this you can see is the cuneiform writing. So I don't know about you, but I really think that I would much rather be reading the English language that I read than trying to read these little wedges and little dots that they placed around. So this is cuneiform. Alright. Let's take a look at a couple of his laws. Remember, there were over 200, so we're certainly not going to sit here and read all of them. We're just going to read a few. This law says, if a free man brings false witness in a case that carries the death sentence, then he shall be put to death. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute. If a free man accuses another man of doing something so bad that the punishment for that crime would be the death sentence. If you find out that the man that accused him had false testimony or he lied about it, then that man that accused him and lied, he's the one that will be put to death. Now remember, they believed that Hammurabi was a fair and just king. They also believed that he tried to protect those who were innocent and those maybe who had had a lot rougher time in the past, maybe some that were not as wealthy. It seemed as though the wealthy people always seemed to get, they would catch a break, but the people who were poorer, they did not. So Hammurabi was trying to be fair in his sentence and in his judgments when things came before him. So my question to you would be, is this law fair? And who is Hammurabi trying to protect in this law? Now, if you say this law is fair, or if you don't believe it to be fair, that's completely your opinion. However, if you look at this closely, when I ask you the second question, which was, who is he trying to protect? In this case, he's trying to protect the man that was accused of doing something wrong. because someone else told a lie about him. So basically, he's trying to protect the innocent, and he's trying to get down to the truth of the matter, whether a crime's been committed or not. And if you would lie, or if you would accuse someone of doing something that they hadn't done, and the sentence is the death sentence, then you would be the one who got that. A couple of the students in class today said, that's pretty harsh. Yeah, it is pretty harsh, but that was one of his law codes. All right, let's look at another one. If a builder builds a house and does not make the construction firm, and the house collapses and causes death of the owner, that builder shall be put to death. Fair or not fair? And my next question, who's Hammurabi trying to protect? If a free man wants to disinherit his son, but the judges find the son has done no grave wrong, then the father may not disinherit his son. Fair? Not fair? Who's Hammurabi trying to protect? Those are the questions I'm going to ask you every time. If a free man rents a field but does not cultivate it, he shall pay the owner grain based on the yield of the adjoining fields. Is that fair? Is it not fair? Who is it that Hammurabi is trying to protect in this law? Last one for today. If a trader borrows money from a merchant and then denies it, and the merchant can prove this loan was made, the trader shall pay the merchant 3 times the amount he borrowed. Fair? Not fair? Who's he protecting? All right. Now on a piece of paper in your spiral notebook, and I really would like for it to be around the questions that we did yesterday. So if you've got some space around this little worksheet that we glued in that says Akkad, Babylon, and Assyria, you can write it to the side, you can write it over the top, you can write it on the bottom. I would really like for you to answer this question near this worksheet, but if you can't, that's okay. It's your spiral notebook, and the thing that I'm most concerned about is that you have the information in there that you need. So on a piece of paper in your spiral notebook, I want you to answer this question with no less than 5 sentences. No less than 5 sentences. Not 4, not 3, not 2, not 1. 5 or more. You can write more sentences if you want to. And several of my students did that today. The thing that your standard asks, and let me find that standard one more time so I can pull it back up here and show it to you. The standard says, what is the significance of Sargon and Hammurabi? Significance means, what is it that makes them so important? Why were they so important in their societies? Well, we're talking about King Hammurabi right now. So in 5 or more sentences, I want you to tell me why it is that King Hammurabi is so significant. In other words, what makes him so important? Think about it. Why do people need laws? What good do laws do for a civilization? What did King Hammurabi do that made him so memorable? Was he fair? Was he just? Was he not fair? Did he truly try to protect the innocent? Tell me why Hammurabi is so important. Why do we need to know about him? What's been passed down to us that makes him so memorable? All right, you can pause the video here if you need to go ahead and answer that question, and then you can start it back up when you're ready. Now we moved on to the next standard today as well. So the next standard is 6.10. I need you to write this standard on the next free page of your notebook, and then we're going to get started on it as well. You will find under my units of study a worksheet that had this picture on it. You need 2 of them. One will be glued in your notebook, and the other one we're actually going to put up in the classroom. Okay, I hope that you know what this is by now. I think that you recognize it. Maybe you can tell me when you get back to class. The other one you need is a picture of this. And this is farming in Mesopotamia. Things have already been labeled for you. You need to print off or pick up a copy of those pictures in the classroom, or print them off, like I said, over your computer. And you're going to glue them on the next free page of your spiral. One picture will go on one page, one picture will go on the other. Okay, when you get that done, Then you're going to bring the extra picture that you have left back to class with you. And I think when you get back to school, you will see what we did with that extra picture. All right, next week we'll be talking more about irrigation techniques. And we'll be looking at some more of the culture in Mesopotamia and in the city-states of Sumer. All right, until we meet again, I will see you, I guess, at that time. See you, bye.